G'day, I'm Clive and welcome to PTT Outdoors. Today what I'm showing you is how I make a Whoopie sling. This Whoopie sling is not going to be for one of my hammocks. I am actually making it for my gear sling that goes underneath my hammock. So normally people make their Whoopie slings 6 foot long, but because the actual gear sling is smaller than the hammock, I'm making mine 10 feet long. I've already tapered one end here of the dyneema. I'll show you how I taper on the other end. Okay, what I'm using here is just a pin at the pin board. And this dyneema cord, or rope, whatever you want to call it, is made up of 8 strands, and I'm just going to take out 3 and trim it. So there's the first one coming out. And then we'll go to this one here. That's the second one. And I'll just get one more, roughly between those two. Okay, so we've got 3 I've taken out, and we've got 5 left. So I'll go and cut these off and then I'll come back. So there we go, we've got both ends tapered now, roughly 1 inch to 1.5 inches down. What this enables is for us to be able to use this a lot easier to bury it inside the dyneema, or passing it through and making a lock brummel. Okay, first thing, I'm going to mark out the tail, which I'll be working with. And I'm going to make that 5 inches, which is there. And because of it being dark and still dyneema both mean the same, I'm just going to squeeze it together so I can see where it's open as the first measurement. And then all I want is a 2.5 inch loop on it, and because we're going to make the 2.5 inch loop, we're going to have to add the 2 lengths together of each side, which will make the 5 inches. So there's the first, and there's this second 5 inches. Now what we're going to do is pass this end through the dyneema cord and bring the first mark of the 5 inch out the opposite side. So the way we're going to do this is use this hook I've got, which I'll pass through, do my best to keep equal amount of strands, and the piece we've tapered we'll put here on the hook and close that and take it through the dyneema. Just be patient and it'll go through easy. Now this is where the first mark is we made, and I want that to come through the opposite side. So there it is there. The next thing we're going to have to do is bring the other end through here to make the locked brummel. So we'll go back to that first mark we made, pass the hook or the fishing tool through, and we'll check just to be safe that there's no knots in this line. No, no knots. So with the other tapered end then, wrap that around the hook, fold it over, close it and pull it through the same as we did with the other end. Again, remembering to be patient, and it will come through nice and easy. So as you can see, I've got my finger through the first loop so it doesn't pull in on itself. So that's how it will lock. And this is known as the locked brummel. And all we're going to do is pull the ends nice and tight, and that's it, locked. That's going nowhere. Now I've got this piece of tail left, and the way we clean this up, we bury it inside the cord. So what we'll do, we'll fold that over and run the length. We'll go about an inch, maybe an inch and a half past. And this time we'll take the hook up the centre and doing our best not to bring it out the sides or catching any threads as we go. We'll bring it as close as possible without actually going right next to it. And again, fold the tapered end over. Just being patient, just gently pull and wiggle, and you'll see the end has gone in there now. So we'll just play it down till it comes out the other end. And then we'll pull that nice and tight. And then we're going to milk. This is known as the berry. So we're going to milk it. As you'll tell by this, the way we do this, we'll just pull the Dyneema, milk it down, and looks like I haven't got far enough, but that actually, there it goes. The tail has now been buried inside the Dyneema cord. So it's a nice clean. Now the next part to making the Whoopie sling is I'm going to measure 10 inches from the end of there down. Right on this side. So there's the 10-inch point. And then I'm going to measure another 10 inches past that to there. And what this section's for is for the berry, which is we're going to bring the other end of the cord in here, up the centre of the cord, and then back out at this 10-inch point. And what this does, this is your, I don't know, I think you'd call it your trap. It's like an old Chinese finger trap where you put your finger in each end, and the more you pull, the tighter it gets. So the cord is going to go through here, so when we pull this tight, it will grip on the cord and give us support. What I am going to add to this before we go any further is a small Dyneema ring. Some people use a Whoopie hook, others use a little bead. I don't have either of them on me. So I'm just going to use the titanium ring there. And what this is for is to stop the cord going in on itself, which I'll show you in a moment. So again, I'm going to put this up the centre, coming from the looped end. And I'm going to make my way back to the second 10-inch mark I made. And come out, do my best not to catch any threads, that's it, and come out there. So there we go, in the first mark I made with the 10 inches, down 10 inches to the second mark and brought it out. And now we'll hook the tapered end over this again, close that, and we're going to bring it through, bring it in on itself through the centre. Again, just being patient, and it's slowly coming through. This is the most difficult part, is just getting this piece to start going in. And there it goes. So again, just being patient, and it'll come out the other opposite end. So now I'll pull that through, and I'll show you why I put the titanium ring on there. And this is why. There's the ring, there's the Amstel, so that ring will just stop it going through any further, so you don't lose it in itself. And you keep the loop, the adjustable loop, accessible. Okay, this now the final end, the last one we just brought through. I'm going to tidy that up and bury inside of itself, which will stop this end going through the same. So I want about that much. Just looking at it, what's that? Let's measure it for you. Which is about 5 inches. You can do it less if you want. I'll come past a couple of inches. No. Yep. And I'll take this back up the centre again. Needs to be open. Oh, let's come out. Alright, I'll pick it through where I folded it over. And the tapered end again. Wrap it under the hook. close that and gently pull it through on itself. There it goes. Now do your best not to let this go any further until the point it just begins to disappear, but doesn't go in on itself. Okay, here's this end. And so we just gently pull until the loop just closes on itself, and that's it. Again, we'll milk it and that end disappears. So it's a nice clean finish. And what this also does, as I said, is it stops it coming all the way through and going in on itself on this end. So let's do that. I'll show you. Here we go. And there it is. It stops itself going in. I suppose if you pull it hard enough it will go, but that's just a good stopper. And it makes it look clean and tidy. And like I said, this is going to be used for my gear sling, and that's why it's longer than a normal one. So this is going to give us anywhere from, I believe, let's measure it down from the smallest up to the biggest and let you know. Okay, from the gear sling to if I'm using a tree strap, that's going to give me a reach of 20 inches. That's the minimum. I think that's 2 feet. There's 2, 4, 6, 8. Oh, just over 9 feet. So it's 3 feet more than a normal Whoopie sling. And you tied it up and wrap it on itself. It's only around 6 inches in length by 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. So small enough to put in your pack. Imagine you've got to double that because you'll have one on either side. So in my next video I'll be installing this onto my gear sling that goes underneath my hammock, and tell you a bit more about it and how swapping the paracord from the gear sling for your Dyneema Whoopie sling makes a big difference and gives you extra use for your gear sling. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you haven't subscribed already, please click on that subscribe button down below and the bell button next to it so you can be notified of any future videos I put up. And if you are already a subscriber, thank you very much, and until next time, get out there, have some fun and take care.